I'm Clara, and for the last 10 years, my life has been a relentless echo of the same mundane days, each one blending into the next. Every morning unfolded with a bittersweet familiarity. The alarms buzz, shattering the quiet, while the scent of warm coffee lingered, a tender reminder of what could never be. James, my husband, hurries, stealing glances at his phone, the burden of the day ahead tugging him toward his work in downtown Santiago. The doorbell rang, shattering the stillness, a painful reminder of his absence that left me alone in the quiet. James is the embodiment of goodness, a constant I can rely on. He understands me without hesitation, always dedicated and responsible. Yet, there's an elusive part of him that feels distant, stirring a deep yearning for warmth and connection that feels just out of reach. His heart seems locked away in his work, leaving no space for anything forbidden to bloom. In those fleeting moments, our words hover in the darkness, bound by necessity, while the silence between us holds a world of unexpressed feelings. It feels as if we are just occupying the same space, not truly entwined as partners in this delicate dance of marriage. For years, I told myself this was the way it had to be, that this was the heart of married life. Yet, deep down, a haunting feeling of invisibility clung to me, whispering of something more, something forbidden. In the chaos of our lives, there's Leo, our cherished boxer, though he truly belongs to her alone. We brought him into our world as a tiny puppy, hoping he would guard our home. Yet for me, Leo became something more, a cherished soul, a secret love to nurture and adore. I've come to see that I never really allowed myself to know him deeply. He was a tender spirit, a soft whisper that brought an unspoken peace to our lives. On most days, he sought refuge in the garden, where the sun's warmth wrapped around him like a secret embrace, or he would curl up in his bed in the living room, drifting into a dream-filled slumber, unaware of the world outside. Leo and I barely spoke, yet the silence crackled with unspoken longing. His heart raced with joy as James burst through the door, eager to greet him, while I stood frozen, caught in a bittersweet moment of longing. It was as if he knew he was just a shadow in my world, not really living, and so the days faded, one into the next. The house was immaculate, dinner laid out with care, but a haunting silence wrapped around my heart, whispering secrets of longing. It's incredible to think that something as ordinary as a dog could change everything I thought I knew. Who knew that something so tiny could stir such deep feelings within me? Yet, I stood at the edge of a revelation, knowing that Leo was destined to be so much more than a mere companion. He was the only one who saw into my soul. It was a morning like any other, but beneath its ordinary surface lay a fragile allure, whispering secrets of longing and unspoken desires. James had slipped out for work, just like every other morning, and I stood in the kitchen, gazing at my cold coffee, my mind swirling with unspoken feelings. The silence wrapped around me, a suffocating shroud that crushed any flicker of solace. The soft whispers of the wind outside wrapped around me like a secret, a tender touch that highlighted the chill of my lonely home. An intense feeling of closeness wrapped around me. Leo stood at the kitchen door, his gaze piercing through me, offering a calm I hadn't felt in ages. In the stillness, unspoken feelings lingered. He stood frozen, silence enveloping him. He stood there, looking at me with a depth that hinted he understood the emotions I could barely voice. In that brief instant, I wanted to look away, but the intensity of his gaze anchored me in place. I stood in silence, my heart aching with confusion, desperate to understand the enigma of his choices. Was it possible he saw into the very core of my heart? A soft laugh escaped me, a bittersweet reminder of the joy I shouldn't have felt. He's only a dog, Clara. Let's not pretend this isn't complicated. In a fleeting instant that left hearts racing, Leo veered in a direction no one anticipated. He stood slowly, each step a silent promise, and gently leaned his head against my leg, igniting a spark of something we both knew we shouldn't feel. I stood there, heart racing, caught in a moment that felt both tender and new, unsure of what came next. In that fleeting moment, I understood that I had never felt such a connection with him before. As my fingers grazed his hair, a rush of warmth enveloped me, a silent promise that I was not alone in this fleeting moment. That simple gesture carried an intensity that struck a chord in my heart, lingering in the air between us, electric and undeniable. After that day, I became painfully aware of the small moments that had once eluded me, like fleeting secrets carried away by the breeze. Every time I sank into the familiar embrace of the sofa, Leo would settle just a few steps away, his presence a silent reminder of the connection we dared not name in those fleeting moments of stillness. On those hard days, when my tears threatened to spill over, he would be there, quietly waiting by my door. His presence lingered like a secret, a quiet understanding of the burden I carried, and he stood by, ready to offer comfort in the stillness between us. It was a dreamlike moment, as if fate had woven a secret just for us. He surprised me, revealing his heart in ways I never anticipated. A sharp departure from my time with James, who always held back. With Leo, I felt a steady pull, a bond that eased my heart, pure and profound, awakening emotions I'd long ignored. It was as if he saw the depths of my soul. In a world where I was often invisible, he saw me for who I truly was. A question haunted me, lingering in the shadows, waiting for the moment I could finally face it. Is it possible that a dog could give me what my husband has failed to provide for so long? And if that were true, what would it mean for us? A heavy knot twisted in my chest, an unshakable weight of longing that felt both thrilling and wrong. For so long, I buried my deepest desires, until Leo softly revealed the truth I dared not face. That morning with Leo haunted me, a bittersweet reminder of feelings I dared not acknowledge. A warmth wrapped around me, so real, yet tinged with a fear that whispered of the danger lurking beneath. It's just a dog, isn't it? I fought against the tide of my heart, telling myself that these feelings were too intense, too wild to be real. Every time Leo looked at me, or stepped closer with that calm presence, it was as if a piece of my heart broke and healed all at once. It consumed me, and I couldn't escape the sting of foolishness for letting his actions mean so much. What was stirring inside me? I tried to focus on anything else, just like I always had before. As I washed the dishes and tidied up, an intense silence wrapped around me, its heaviness almost unbearable. In the quiet of the house, a deeper truth lingered, wrapped in the heavy silence that filled my existence. In my connection with James, a haunting emptiness lingered, as if we were caught in a relentless cycle of longing. I set the table, he lost himself in his work, and when we finally sat down together, it felt like an ocean lay between us. I was desperate to uncover the truth behind it all. He frequently whispered that James was tied down, weighed down by endless obligations. But what about my heart's desires and unspoken yearnings? Was I not important in your life? When did we begin to slip away from each other like this? Fear gripped me at the thought of my own ignorance. But then there was Leo, a light in the shadows of my heart. That dog, in a fleeting moment, filled a void in my heart I had longed to fill for years. Yet, beneath the surface, I grappled with the truth of it all. I couldn't bring myself to face it, for doing so would reveal the chaos lurking beneath the surface of my life. The truth clung to my heart, a burden I could no longer ignore. I lost myself in distractions, desperate to drown out the silence that surrounded me. I tried to banish those thoughts, yearning for a moment of tranquility in my heart. But the fear remained, an unyielding whisper in the corners of my heart. What if it really were true? What if my joy was bound so tightly to something James could never give me? But Leo did. It's just a dog. He whispered those words, but deep down, he knew it was so much more complicated. It was never about Leo. He mirrored the emptiness I had yet to confront within myself. One afternoon, I sat on the couch, lost in thought as I stared out the window, yet my mind wandered into a realm of longing, where emotions tangled and blurred the reality around me. That day began like so many others, yet something lingered in the air, unspoken and electric. With James gone, the silence in the house was haunting, and my heart raced with unvoiced feelings I dared not face. In that fleeting moment, a deep yearning washed over me. Leo sank into the couch, a fleeting moment of quiet that wrapped around us, a bittersweet refuge amidst the chaos. It was a fleeting moment that took him by surprise, a break from the ordinary that lingered with a whisper of doubt. He curled up next to me, his head softly resting on my leg, a fleeting moment of closeness that surrounded us, both sweet and unexpectedly profound. I stood there, heart racing, caught off guard by the warmth that felt so wrong yet so right. As I looked at him, an overwhelming truth enveloped my heart. In that moment, he transformed into something more, something I dared not fully acknowledge. I found someone who understood me in ways I never expected. As my fingers brushed through his hair, a quiet understanding passed between us, igniting a warmth that was both exhilarating and dangerously sweet. It was a brief escape, a tender easing of the weight that pressed on my heart, if only for an instant. In that fleeting moment, a warmth wrapped around me, and for the first time in ages, I felt a connection that softened the burden of loneliness. Leo held his tongue, a storm of longing brewing within him, yet he dared not speak of it. He stood before me, a silent force, offering a gift I never knew I craved. In the quiet of our time, an unspoken bond lingers, gentle and unshakable. A warmth wrapped around me, a feeling I thought I had lost forever, and in that fleeting moment, I was consumed by thoughts of us. How is it possible that a dog can awaken such deep feelings in my heart? Why does finding peace with James feel so out of reach? That question haunted me, igniting a fire that illuminated everything I had dared to ignore. In that brief moment of solace Leo provided, I found myself questioning if he held more than just the answers I craved. Maybe the real question lay not with Leo, but deep within my own heart and the path I was meant to take. That afternoon in the armchair changed everything. A change stirred deep inside, etching a lasting impression on my soul. After all these years, a deep yearning stirred within me, a desire to break free from the chains of a monotonous existence that had captured my heart. In a fleeting moment of introspection, I decided to embark on this secret journey with Leo. The next day, I took his leash in hand, a flutter of longing and bittersweet memories coursing through me as we strolled through the park that held our secrets. In that moment, it felt like nothing at all. He walked beside me, his eager presence brushing against the boundaries of what felt right, while I drifted in my thoughts, caught in a moment that felt both tender and forbidden. Yet, as the days slipped by, I couldn't shake the feeling that something deep and unspoken was stirring within me. Leo felt a thrill, not only in the stroll, but in the electric warmth of my closeness. Every time I looked at him, he would meet my eyes, searching for a silent promise that all was well inside his heart. With each passing day, those stolen walks became the highlights of my existence. It was our secret haven, a place just for us, where nothing else mattered. Words were unnecessary. My silence spoke volumes of the feelings I dared not reveal. Leo was there, a silent force that hung between them, charged with unspoken longing. At first, my words stumbled out, tinged with a strange mix of hesitation and longing, as if I were crossing a line by sharing my thoughts with a creature so different from me. Yet, in truth, those conversations became a bittersweet refuge for my heart. Today, Leo, I discovered a spark between us that eased my loneliness, even if just for a moment. One afternoon, under the sun's tender glow, I whispered my secrets to him. In that fleeting moment, his eyes held a world of unspoken feelings, a connection that defied all boundaries. Slowly, those fleeting moments stirred a longing in me that I thought I had buried deep, unrestrained bliss, tinged with longing. I began to notice the delicate moments that had once eluded me, hidden in the corners of my heart. With a deep breath, I savor the cool air wrapping around me, while the soft rustling of leaves shares its hidden tales. The sun's touch ignites a longing within me, a bittersweet reminder of what we can never fully have. It was the smallest gesture that reignited the spark within my tired heart. As I stepped through the door and saw James, a rush of emotions washed over me, revealing a world transformed. When Leo's gaze wrapped around me, filling me with warmth and connection, I felt the weight of James's unwavering presence, a silent shadow in the corners of my heart. He felt distant, absorbed in the light of his phone or the shifting scenes on the TV, as if everything else had vanished into the shadows. The ache of this realization clung to my heart, but I could no longer ignore it. Leo had become something much more than a mere pet. He occupied a hidden corner of my heart, a confidant I could trust with my deepest secrets. And in that connection, I found my refuge. Though I couldn't fully understand it, I sensed that those walks meant more than just fulfilling his desires. They were destined to be mine. As the air thickened in their shared space, James felt the delicate yet intense transformation taking place around him. One quiet night, as we lingered in our shared silence, he placed his fork down and turned his eyes to mine. What is it about those stolen moments outside with the dog that pulls you in so deeply? His voice held a weight that made my heart race, leaving me torn between intrigue and frustration, grappling with the unvoiced feelings that hung between us. My eyes met his, surprise washing over me at the sudden question. His interest in my pursuits was a fleeting whisper, almost taboo. Walking beside him feels like a secret haven, I said, trying to keep my tone carefree. Yet beneath the surface, I felt an unspoken longing hidden within his question. As the days slipped by, the burden of hidden emotions and lingering tensions grew heavier. James began to voice his thoughts, each word hanging heavily, charged with unspoken feelings. Your attention seems to linger on Leo, and I can't help but feel a little forgotten. He's not just a dog, Clara. He's everything we can't have. He's more than a pet. He's a light in the quiet, stirring feelings I hadn't faced. It's impossible to view him as anything but everything. It leaves me bewildered how deeply you care for him. His words cut through me, leaving a lingering ache that echoed within. In that ache, I discovered a truth I had been too afraid to face. James and I stood on opposite sides of an unbridgeable divide, one that had grown more profound than ever before, and it was evident that Leo was not the reason for this aching separation. Amidst the tension that hung between us, I discovered a bittersweet comfort in my solitary walks, treasuring the stolen moments shared with Leo. With each passing day, an undeniable force stirred within me, deepening in intensity, whispering secrets of a love that felt both exhilarating and forbidden. It wasn't just Leo who stirred my heart. It was the very essence of those fleeting moments we shared. In this fleeting moment, I grasped for breath, yearning to shed the heavy chains of my confinement. One afternoon remains etched in my mind, weighty and fraught with longing. Before James left for work, a disagreement hung between us, a bittersweet tension that refused to fade. A deep ache settled in my chest, his words stealing away my very essence. Yet there was Leo, looking at me with a calm certainty that seemed to say, "Don't fear, I'll always be by your side." Taking him to the park felt like a ritual, but as I watched him race through the sea of fallen leaves, an unexpected rush of feelings surged within me, a sensation I thought I'd lost forever. A wave of relief sweeps through me, wrapping my heart in a tender hold. The world fades away, leaving a quiet calm that stirs something deep inside me. In that fleeting moment, a wave of quiet relief washed over me. I realized I wasn't completely broken. Even the smallest sparks of happiness could light my way. Leo was my secret strength, a steady presence in a world that swirled with doubt. Every soft movement of his, from the delicate flick of his tail to the way he nestled close, whispered of a hidden connection, a fleeting promise that even in the darkest moments, something beautiful could still exist between us. That night lingered painfully in my heart. James and I barely spoke all day, and when I finally found the strength to reach out, he merely offered a distant gesture, retreating into the light of his phone, deepening my solitude. I stepped into the room, my heart weighed down by a tight, uneasy feeling. The weight of solitude pressed against my heart, a familiar ache that lingered like a secret longing. As I sat on the edge of the bed, a rush of feelings overwhelmed me, and tears began to spill down my cheeks. It was a secret longing, a soft pain that nestled in the corners of my heart. It was a deep void that wrapped around me, making me feel untethered and alone, a painful echo of everything I longed for but could never have. In that moment, the gentle sound of his footsteps wrapped around me, igniting a longing I dared not acknowledge. With a gentle push, Leo opened the door, stepping forward with a trust that felt both thrilling and dangerous, closing the distance between us. He knelt at my feet, looking up with those eyes that held a profound understanding, as if he could see into my very soul. Even in my silence, he felt the weight of the unvoiced emotions that hung in the air between us. He stood up, moving toward the bed with a hesitance that felt almost forbidden, a rare act that typically needed a tender push or a whispered plea. That simple act kindled a warmth in my heart, one that felt both tender and rare. I held him tightly, my tears flowing freely as I surrendered to the moment. As my fingers brushed against him, a rush of gratitude surged within me, mingled with a profound ache that left me adrift, uncertain of how to handle the turmoil of my heart. Leo stood in the weight of silence, his heart aching with unspoken words, longing to break free. He couldn't promise me that everything would be okay, but the depth of his presence said more than words ever could. In that brief instant, I realized just how deeply I craved this bond. His presence was a forbidden spark, igniting a strength within me that I never knew I needed, a lifeline in my quiet turmoil. By his side, I lingered, a quiet hope settling deep in my heart. Why does my bond with him spark something so unique, so intense, unlike what I have with James? The question gripped my heart with a mix of dread and longing. In that fleeting instant, a spark ignited, revealing a truth that stirred my very soul. The truth lingered, heavy and undeniable, as if it had been yearning for me to finally see it. What Leo offered me was more than just a simple gesture. It was everything I had longed for, a secret desire that had lingered in the shadows of my heart. In the quiet moments, a warmth wraps around us, a secret longing for the love that feels both tender and out of reach. In that shadowy room, a deep truth enveloped me, as if a hidden part of my heart was breaking free at last. The whispers of my heart grew too loud to ignore, begging me to confront the truth I dared not face. James wasn't the problem, and Leo didn't have the solution. The emptiness pressed down on my heart, a lingering ache that made me question everything we could never have. The days that followed, and that night, were charged with an unspoken intensity. A spark flared inside me, casting light on hidden corners of my soul. In that moment, I was torn between a daring heart and a heavy sigh, caught in a whirlwind of longing. It was a pull that stirred my very soul, impossible to ignore and fiercely passionate. One afternoon, as I stirred a pot of dinner, my hands moved almost on their own, while my thoughts wandered into a realm of longing and unspoken desires. Looking back on the past few months, I can't help but feel a rush of emotions as Leo brought light to a part of my life I thought was gone forever. To feel the intense thrill of being truly noticed, sincerely understood, and passionately adored. It's not in the words we whisper or the fleeting moments we steal, but in the quiet, undeniable connection that binds us together. In the quiet of that kitchen, I finally faced a truth I'd long avoided, a feeling that had quietly haunted my heart for years. My marriage has shattered beyond repair. James possessed his own charms, but he could never be the one my heart truly craved. His absence left a deep ache in my heart, a void I struggled to understand for far too long. A piece of my soul felt lost, subtly tugging at my heart and mind, whispering secrets I didn't even know I was missing. In that fleeting moment, illuminated by Leo, I realized I couldn't look away any longer. Leo showed me a bond that felt both pure and deeply unexpected. In his presence, I discover a fleeting peace, a moment free from judgment, and a sweet escape from the weight of the world. He stands beside me, presenting a treasure I thought was beyond my reach. Those fleeting moments, his lingering presence, the warmth of his compassion. As I faced this reality, A profound ache took root in my heart, a bittersweet recognition of how far James was from giving me the same in return. I could no longer ignore the pull he had on my heart. This void wasn't Leo's fault, nor could it be soothed by gentle walks or peaceful times. It was a deeper matter, awakening something inside me, a crack that had quietly widened over time, now exposed, impossible to hide behind excuses. Leaning against the doorframe, I couldn't tear my eyes away from James in the kitchen, our world frozen in that fleeting moment. A wave of longing surged within me as I saw the distance in his eyes, a haunting echo of what we once had. Facing this truth ignited a deep urgency within me, revealing that my entire life must change. Yet beneath it all, I sensed the heaviness of the moment, a truth that this was a turning point for us. I had to seize this moment, or it would vanish into the shadows of what could have been. I could no longer ignore the ache within me, the desperate need for love, for a spark that would make me feel alive again. After what seemed like forever, I mustered the strength to face the reality of my heart. In the stillness of my thoughts, I discovered a deep truth that Leo had unknowingly imparted to me. True love holds a quiet strength. It avoids the shadows of doubt and doesn't chase after what it shouldn't. True love lingers in the shadows, raw and unfiltered, a secret longing that defies the world. That was the heartbeat of my dreams, the secret I cherished deep within my soul. In the days that followed, something deep began to stir inside me. As I faced the truth of my marriage and acknowledged my deepest longings, a wave of clarity enveloped me, something I had been searching for endlessly. In that fleeting moment, a truth enveloped my heart. This was about so much more than James. I discovered the truth hidden within me, a piece I had lost along the way, a version I once held dear but had to abandon. In my pursuit of perfection, I lost myself in the endless hours spent trying to create a world that felt just right, battling the weight of expectations that pressed down on me. I can't help but feel that I've lost something precious, something that was never meant to be mine. You are my secret joy, a longing that stirs my heart in ways I can't express. Leo shared a secret with me, one that felt like a precious treasure, hidden from the world. One morning, under the endless blue, I stopped to steal a glance at him. He glanced my way, his ears alert, and his eyes shimmering with an unspoken calm that drew me in. There I was, on my knees, caught in a moment I shouldn't be in. Thank you, Leo. It means more than you know. Your support touches my heart deeply. Your steadfast support touches my heart, and I am profoundly thankful for your faith in me during my darkest times, for showing me that the ability to feel still lingers within. I feel a spark of change flickering inside me, yearning to break free. In that brief instant, an overwhelming feeling surged within me, urging me to take a leap into the unknown and pursue a new direction. It had gone beyond the simple matter of saving our marriage, entwined in something deeper and more complicated. I found myself wrestling with a haunting question. Could I really rescue my heart? Deep inside, I knew I deserved more, something real. I could no longer ignore the whispers of my heart. He was my beacon in the haze, a secret connection that drew me closer to who I really was. Watching him dance through the fallen leaves, a deep longing stirred within me. I felt the pull of a choice I couldn't resist, knowing it was the only way forward. In my search for wholeness, I wondered if it would be with James or alone. Have you ever felt the intense pull of a love that seems just out of reach? Have you found comfort in an unexpected connection, just like Leo did? I would love to hear your story in the comments, even if it feels a bit risky to share. If this video touched your heart, please consider showing your love by liking it, subscribing, and ringing the bell for more. This way, you won't lose the chance to experience more passionate tales like this one. Your support ignites something deep within me, urging me to continue sharing what connects us, even if it feels a little risky. Talking to James was like braving a tempest, every word laden with unspoken feelings. One evening, after our meal, I stood up and softly beckoned him to join me for a quiet talk. At first, it seemed like I was invisible to him, my words slipping away into silence, unacknowledged and unvalued. He appeared adrift in his own world, as he frequently did. This time, he was resolute, ready to face the conversation directly, ensuring I couldn't escape the moment. "Oh, James," I whispered to him, my heart racing with unspoken feelings. "We need to talk about what's been lingering between us. The burden of my situation is suffocating me. It's a struggle to keep going like this. In this moment, I am wrapped in a deep loneliness that tugs at my heartstrings. It feels like everything I once held dear is fading, leaving me lost in doubt and longing." He looked up, a hint of worry shadowing his face. "Can you help me grasp what you're trying to say? Where did it all begin?" His voice trembled, caught in a fragile balance of doubt and frustration, leaving an aching silence in its wake. I bared my soul to him, revealing my deepest thoughts with honesty, holding on to the truth while resisting the urge to point fingers. In that fleeting instant, raw truth intertwined with tender understanding. I bared my soul, revealing the aching void that our separation had carved within me. It was Leo who opened my eyes to the heavy truth I had been avoiding. His response surprised me, stirring a whirlwind of unspoken desires within. "Is this because of the dog's presence?" He let out a sigh, frustration lacing his voice. "Are you really saying that a creature can give you more happiness than I can?" In that brief instant, I felt a deep urge to pull away, to let our words hang between us, unspoken and unresolved. Yet I discovered the courage to remain, to move ahead, even as doubt lingered in the shadows. In that fleeting moment, our conversation held a weight that transcended words, even if he couldn't fully understand me. It was a moment that lingered, echoing not only between us, but deeply within my heart. "It's never been about Leo, James." This time I answered with a deeper certainty, moved by the intense connection he revealed within me. "We must find a way to grasp what has eluded us, if it still lingers in some hidden corner of our hearts. But if we stay silent, our hearts will never know change." James lingered in the quiet, the tension of unsaid feelings pressing down on him, longing for a way to shatter the silence that surrounded them. The reply was heavy with unspoken feelings, lingering in the air like a secret that couldn't be fully voiced. In that fleeting moment, his silence whispered secrets, brimming with unspoken feelings that tugged at my heart. It was everything to me, that silent connection we shared, a hidden realm where words felt too risky to utter. In that fleeting moment, Leo was my unwavering anchor, holding me steady in the storm of our secret. That night, after our tender exchange, I found him, as he always did, quietly waiting for me by the bed. As his fingers brushed through my hair, an unspoken connection enveloped us. As he prepared to leave, a bittersweet ache settled in my chest. I felt a spark of hope, a quiet strength that whispered I could endure the trials ahead, even if it meant letting go of what we shared. Every step lingers, a bittersweet whisper urging me to savor what lies ahead. The days that followed our talk weren't remarkable, but something deep inside me changed forever. James and I found ourselves drawn into deeper conversations, each word laced with a mix of longing and trepidation, as if we were cautiously stepping back into a world we once cherished but had nearly forgotten. In the midst of heavy silences and aching distances, small, tender gestures sparked a flicker of hope, but deep down, I felt an undeniable change within me. For the first time in ages, James felt a stirring deep within him. He understood that my joy was no longer bound to his every move. Through Leo, I unearthed a truth I never knew I needed. My happiness is a secret I hold close, a fragile treasure only I can protect. Leo was my unwavering support, my lifeline in the shadows of doubt that loomed over us. His intense gaze and calm demeanor stirred a deep longing within me, a reminder of the forbidden treasure I had found. The courage to delve deep and accept my true self, even when it feels so wrong yet so right. I started to welcome moments that had always seemed forbidden. I lost myself in the pages of books, seeking comfort in their words, while my heart ached for something just out of reach. Life holds secrets beyond the stolen moments with Leo.